You've been waiting all week for that Saturday show. Tune in, see what happened, let your troubles go. Work real hard, now it's time to take it slow. Kick back and relax with that Saturday show.
Good morning, Albuquerque, and welcome back to That Saturday Show. I'm Jim Harvey, your host, and we're here again on a wonderful, warm, sunny day, and we hope that you're going to have a great weekend. I'm really excited about today's show because joining me as my guest co-host today is Brandy Stone. Now, who is Brandy Stone? Brandy Stone is the director of the African American Student Association at the University of New Mexico. And she's done all kinds of other wonderful things, expanding access to and outreach to bring more black students into the university. She's a member of the Association of Black Cultural Programs.
Yes.
And she just continues. She's really an important person in all of our lives because the things that she does affect us all. Welcome, Brandy.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here
Thank
today
you so
on That
much.
Saturday Show. Yes. So tell us, what else can you tell us about Brandy Stone that I have missed?
I think you did a really good job. In addition to serving as the Director of African American Student Services, I also serve as the Special Advisor for the President on African American Affairs. But January 2020 was my first year as permanent director, and then 3 months later we went into a pandemic, and it was just crazy. And then 3 months later we had Black Lives Matter resurge, and so what a crazy year to start off as your first year as a director. But we got a lot of things done, and we're really excited.
That's good.
Yeah.
We're glad you're in that spot. It makes
Thank
a
you.
huge difference. Yeah. Every now and then we're actually able to say good things are happening at UNM.
Yeah.
And one of them
For
is
our Black
Brandy
students
Stone.
always, yes.
Right, exactly right. So let me just share a little news with you real quick before we move on into our program. The Sweet Georgia campaign. Corruption spreads through all aspects of our society, including the government, which is crudely illustrated through numerous acts. One in particular being voter suppression. Thankfully, those who stand against these types of wrongdoings are speaking up through activism, art, music, and more, like the incredible people who run the Sweet Georgia campaign. Jessica Wax, she's a local, the leader of the Sweet Georgia campaign, has brought into existence a heroic effort to stop the regimes from halting citizens' constitutional right to vote. She works around the country to gain support for the cause through donations, community involvement, and activism. A singer and songwriter, she has produced an excellent song called Sweet Georgia, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous. It's dedicated to shedding light upon not only voter suppression, but the many horrible facets in America that affect our economy and our reality in general. The song and its music video can be found on YouTube. Go there, get it, buy it, because the proceeds go to support the work that's happening in Georgia against voter suppression. Buy that song. Speaking of elections, remember June 1st, is Election Day for Congressional District 1 right here in Albuquerque, and we need you to get out and vote. By the way, early voting has already started, so there are numerous polling places around the city that you can now go to and cast your vote. We need you to get out there and cast your vote. This is a really, really important election because who controls Congress and makes decisions that affect our lives could hang in the balance with who we send from Albuquerque's Congressional District 1. So we need you to get out there and make certain that control of Congress remains in the hands of the good folks. And I don't need to tell you who the good folks are. You can figure that one out for yourself. You know. All right. And now it's time for Good News News. Brandy, You're going to love this segment.
Okay.
All right?
I'm excited.
Hasani, take it away.
Thanks, Jim, and good morning. Welcome to Good News News. I'm your correspondent, Hasani Olujimi, and I'm Gugu for Good News. The goal of this segment is to inspire and uplift you, the viewer, with nothing but good news. Let's jump right in, shall we? Our first story goes like this. 7 out of 10 Americans agreed that 2020 made them a better person. A poll of 2,500 Americans revealed that since March 2020, people are more often embracing the idea of neighborly love. Some examples include 87% of Americans have donated a portion of their paycheck, even though 3 out of 5 have experienced financial difficulties themselves. 38% have gone out of their way to take their neighbor's trash out. 31% have walked their neighbor's dog. And if you live in a snowy climate, 1/3 have shoveled out a neighbor's car in the past year. In general, 72% said they found themselves caring about the health and well-being of others significantly more in the past year. The survey aimed to discover how people are dealing with the impacts of the pandemic. Ultimately, while 2020 has been a difficult year for many, it's heartwarming to hear that the experience has made a large majority a better person overall. Now, isn't that good news? Not only does it take a village, it takes a nation. Congratulations, America. Our second story goes like this. Are you ready? Let's go. Walmart commits to helping save pollinators by mandating change for supply chain. Tongue twister. Without pollinators like bees, butterflies, and beetles, some of our favorite foods would not exist. Walmart has announced a set of plans in the U.S. to persuade its grocery supply chain to adopt principles that will protect pollinators. The aim is to reduce several pollinator threats through promoting integrated pest management (IPM) practices and improving and expanding pollinator habitats. To help improve and expand pollinator habitats, Walmart will also encourage fresh produce suppliers to protect, restore, and establish pollinator habitats on at least 3% of land they own, operate, or invest in by 2025. Now, isn't that good news? All right, somebody's looking out for our groceries, because Lord knows I'm hungry. Can you put some honey on my list? Thank you. Now, I'm getting ready to turn the rest of the show over to my good buddy and friend, Little Big Mama. Little Big Mama, what do you have for us today?
Thank you, Hasani. I just got a quick story about my grandson, little smart butt. Came home and said, Grandma, my school grades are going to improve. My friend Jeff, he's a private tutor. I said, little Jeff, the baseball player, is a private tutor? Well, what made him become a private tutor? My grandson looked me dead in my face and said, he's a private tutor because he doesn't fart in public. Smart butt, get in the corner, take time out. Well, Hasani, I know you've been dealing with turning 50, and I just got a few words to tell you. The older you get, the better you get. Unless you're a banana. See you next time, baby.
I'm so glad I'm not a banana. Thank you, Little Big Mama. The best way to turn a frown upside down is to get Gugu for good news. I'm your correspondent, Hasani Olujimi, featuring Little Big Mama. And we'll meet you right here next time on That Saturday Show with more delicious brown banana good news.
You just never know what to expect from Hasani and Little Big Mama. They're the dynamic duo that keeps you laughing and gives you really something to run out the door with after you watch this show on Saturday mornings. Thank you for that. So Tom, I'm glad you've joined us because we got a lot of things we want to talk about here in a short period of time, but we just need to cover these bases. The first thing is that I want to react to the television ads that I've seen that the APD police union has the nerve to be putting out asking that the Department of Justice pull up its stakes and leave town and leave APD alone. Can you imagine? They haven't been in compliance all these 7 years that the DOJ has been here, and now they're asking us to let them ignore their non-compliance, their continued bad behavior, and go away with no accountability, nobody looking over their shoulders, nobody calling them out on their bad behavior. Not good.
Well, how long have they been here? Over 6 years?
Yeah, almost 7 years now.
Yeah, 7 years. And people have to remember that the current mayor at the time, Richard Berry, very reluctantly signed the consent agreement. And him and the CEO, Rob Perry, and the police union were totally against the consent decree before it ever began and did everything they could to stymie the whole process. As you may know, I said on other programs that I was close to 3 years on the Southeast Area Community Policing Council, and people that were stuck on that council by Barry, and everything that we could do, our whole process was essentially stymied from the start by Barry and the police union.
Yeah, it just makes my head spin. And then I read in the news that the city council passed its budget on Monday night, and in that budget is another $10 million for the police department. Gag me.
They have tons of stuff. They don't need that increase. They have plenty of weaponized material. They have plenty of military training. Like we've talked before, that the training in the academy needs to be severely curtailed and put down to de-escalation and learning how to deal with the public and mental health problems and behavioral health problems.
Yeah. So we're supposed to take in stride the fact that the city also has proposed $7.7 million to form a new community safety department. And that's going to be embedded within the police department, which I think is a mistake. Big mistake. We don't want the police department involved in the alternatives to policing. That's been the problem. That's why the DOJ is here. We need an alternative. And if you're serious about it, you'll put that $7.7 million into an independent agency that will put social workers and behavioral counselors and people that can do the kind of work on the streets and in the communities that's necessary. I don't know why they don't ask the people in the community, but they keep doing these same crazy things.
Yeah, it's the same way about the Gateway Center that's opening up in the old Loveless Medical Center. You know, people are protesting against it, but all the community groups need to be brought together and work together to deal with that problem and to make the homeless going in and out of that neighborhood safe and copacetic. But the city's been very, very slow in engaging all the community groups and all the neighborhood groups.
Yeah. So to keep people from becoming homeless, they've put $24 million into rental assistance and nearly $10 million in various other kinds of programs for housing vouchers. Let's see how far that goes, and let's see how effective it can actually be. You know, those are pretty generous kinds of gestures, and I think instead of taking $10 million and wasting it in an already bloated police budget, maybe they need to take that money and put that in these housing vouchers as well. Something's got to change. But like I said, my biggest issue goes back to my theme for 2021, which is who asks you? Nobody asked the people in the community anything, because if the city took the time to ask the community, you'd get a different story and a different set of recommendations.
Sustainability is the key, and that ties in with this national issue that I'm very concerned about. What is it, like 40 million people stand to face eviction once the moratorium is lifted? And locally, there's one guy that's running for mayor of Albuquerque right now, the current sheriff of Bernalillo County, that would delight and be the first person in your door to put you on the street if your rent isn't paid and your landlord isn't satisfied.
And remember, the Bernalillo County Sheriff is the guy that got together with CYFD and the Albuquerque Public Schools to inject itself into the whole issue of student truancy. Imagine how children would be traumatized to have a county sheriff show up at your door saying, "Why aren't you in school?" We don't need that kind of stuff here. Children are traumatized enough with the violence that they witness, the violence that they are a victim of, and the violence that they see on television, in the news, and hear about. We don't need anything else to add to their trauma. And if the Albuquerque Public Schools want to abdicate their responsibility to addressing the issue of truancy, or CYFD wants to abdicate its responsibility to addressing children that have all kinds of issues that need to be taken care of, you don't do it with the sheriff's department.
Yeah, really. There's a bunch of national issues that we have to pay attention to. Can't lose sight at all of what's going on in Palestine right now.
That's right. I don't understand it. You know, this tepid kind of reaction from the President of the United States. You know, play nice, you all stop, everybody ceasefire. You know, a real leader would be calling both parties to Washington, D.C. to sit down and say, now let's cut this crap right now. You know, let's cut it right now. It's an even bigger issue, you know, and at the risk of sounding super or hyper partisan, you know, the Israeli soldiers bombarded the most sacred mosque in the Middle East next to Medina and Mecca, the most sacred mosque. They bombarded that mosque, roughed up and abused people that were worshiping on the holiest day, and you don't expect them to be upset? You don't expect them to push back against that kind of abuse, that kind of violence? That's what the Palestinians have been dealing with for years. Mm-hmm. In addition to stealing their land, in addition to murdering them, in addition to just exacting all kinds of apartheid against Palestinians. They don't even let COVID-19 drugs into the Palestinian territories the way they have taken care of the Israelis in Israel.
Well, they basically don't even have basic food and water, and these people are essentially prisoners. It's an apartheid system, and for every little rocket they send over, the Israelis have this incredible interceptor system that a lot of it's paid by aid from the U.S. At the same time, Biden just giving them $735 million in military expenditures. And how much do we send to Israel per year?
Well, I don't know what it is. I think it was like $4 billion
Close
just
to $4
recently.
billion, yeah.
But the total has been $146 billion so far going to Israel. Nothing going to the Palestinian people. Mm-hmm. And Israel is sitting on Palestinian land today. That's criminal.
And another issue that we have here, brings up what you've been talking about forever with the January 6th insurrection. Now they want a panel, a bipartisan panel of 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats. And the GOP leadership is saying that, we don't believe that this insurrection even really happened, when a lot of those people were the people that participated in the insurrection to begin with.
That's right. That's right. But, the leadership doesn't want anybody to know what really happened. How many members of Congress and their staff might have been participating in giving guided tours days before the insurrection, so that when the rioters came and stormed the Capitol, that they would know exactly where to go to find what they wanted to. Some of them are guilty. And this investigation could very well expose that. Mm-hmm. And the GOP leadership knows it. They know full well, and they're trying to hide it.
And they're using the same tool that they're using to stymie everything else. The fact that the filibuster's there, that they need 10 extra votes to pass these things through. It's the same thing about the Voting Act and the infrastructure bill. And most people that have been paying attention to the news and the internet know that that main bridge that goes across from Mississippi to Arkansas
Yeah.
has a major structural crack. I mean, barges were backed up for miles while cranes got in there just to stabilize that. And that's just one part of everything that needs to be repaired in this country. Not only our electrical grid, our computer grid. We saw with the Continental Oil thing from Houston to New Jersey that supplies 40 to 45% of all the power to the East Coast got hacked. I mean, there's a heck of a lot of work to do. There's more COVID relief. There's Biden's job plan along with his infrastructure plan.
And all this works together. You know, it doesn't make sense to have freshly repaired new highways and safely built bridges if parents, for example, can't find affordable childcare so that they can go back to work. People are complaining, oh yeah, you know, job growth has slowed. You know, people are not going back to work like they're supposed to. Well, they're not going back to work because the infrastructure that supports people that need these additional services can't get them. And that's unconscionable. That's just unconscionable. And I don't know, these Republicans, as I call them, need to get their heads out of their butts and start doing the right thing.
But on a more positive note, we are getting a handle on this COVID epidemic here in the United States. Fortunately, we're not India, and that's an absolute mess.
What a tragedy.
But what 16 states have lifted their mask ban, that's turning into a huge controversy, especially for frontline workers. With anybody can come in and say, "Oh yeah, I've been vaccinated" and stuff like that. And so we're definitely still not out of the woods yet. But schools are trying to integrate kids back in. Schools are graduating right now. My daughter, who's 16, I just took her to Tingley to get her first Pfizer vaccination, and the kids that are being vaccinated are going to knock us over 60%, close to 70%. So we're almost at a point. I don't know if it was 16 states that dropped the mask. There's a number of them, but there's 16 states that have registered absolutely zero deaths in the past couple of days.
Right.
So we're definitely getting a handle on this.
Yeah. But be prepared, because by fall, we don't know what's going to happen here with the new flu season coming in, and there's still some states that are acting irresponsibly. Texas, can you hear us?
Florida.
And so we just have to be prepared for that. And there needs to be money in the budget for COVID booster shots, because some of us are going to need to step up and go get a booster shot. And we've got to be prepared for that. That's just the reality. The last thing I want to ask about, Tom, is this, and I asked about this last week. What is going on with the Stephen Baca trial?
We don't know. It's like a lot of other trials I know with the what's his name, Fabian Chavez, Fabian Gonzalez, the Victorian Martins person. These big trials are being pushed out further and further out until they can physically have a trial.
Right, and so maybe that's what's happening with the Stephen Baca trial too. Where you can't protest something without getting shot in the back because somebody doesn't like your position. Isn't that the reality of the country that we live in today? I don't like it. It's got to change. It's just got to change. All right. It's now time for a little music. And I'll tell you about it on the back end. Let's hear it.
There's some next level shit going on around here, and I'm with that. But before y'all get to beaming me up, there's a couple things I want you to understand. First off, you chose me, so you recognize the skills.
Yeah. Yeah. 2012 flow. 25 to life, baby.
LA and Mr. Music.
The places that we've been, you never seen them, yo. The places that we're going, ain't been explored. Internet explore, no Firefox. Google Chrome couldn't find out where we going without Great Scott. Crank it up to 88, let's go back to the past. Now the future's too great, man, it ain't ever late. But sorry for the wait, cause we bout to spaz. Chicago on the jazz, call LA Fresh Prince. You know I'm Jazzy Jab, and I'm Kobe on the beat. And you could call him Shaq, call Karma Uncle Phil Jackson. You ain't never heard me rap like that, son. Penitentiary flow to the maximum. Models all upon me, Maxim. Who the illest in the shop, man? Ask him. Stanley Ipkiss shoot with my mask on.
Yeah. I ain't Weezy or Gambeezy or Breezy, but I'm in my zone. I'm just E.T. coming home, and I don't need no cellular phone. Patiently waiting like M50 till they put me on. I know I got it. What this industry on? I'm insane in the cranium, bet your brain to be blown. If you put these headphones on and play me in your dome, I'ma have you feeling like a groundhog without a home. It's just a game of shadows. Come and find me, we could battle. I swear I'm such an animal. Eat these rappers like animals. Cause y'all, yo, Gary. And I am Joe Dirt. Long hair, don't care, I lead the way like I'm a chauffeur. And now I smoke perk, I'm just high on life. No soaps, little mama, but I'm guiding light. I'm a lighthouse, these other rappers night lights. Call them Tinkerbell, or maybe Cinderella. Why they always gotta whine like they in a cellar? Y'all late, I'm on time, set your clocks better. Haters say the darndest things are a link letter. And my flow tight, like I shrink sweaters. Straight shot of Patron, now I think better.
Lots on my mind, trying not to lose it. Lots full of cars, buying them's the future. Slot machines, lotto tickets, life is a gamble. It's 50-50 chances, 2-door handles. Which you gon' open and which you gon' close. There's never been a better time, the decision is yours. A split-second choice can change the course of history. Hope Father Time is on my side, Dad, I know you're listening. Guess what? Today it's my birthday, but I wanna live life every day like it's my birthday. And I want this music shit like in the worst way. So I'ma keep on grinding till it's my hearse day. Married to the music till death do us part. Yeah, I married myself cause love's super harsh. And the only thing that's worth fighting for is to reach the highest level. Grammy awards.
Waiting for the day I finally step up to the podium. They know I've been had flows like linoleum, but I'ma never be the one for you to step on. Used to be a nerd, but now I'm cool, call me Stephon. Put me in the booth, watch how I change up. We chase greatness forever, you never change us. Me and music got the Grammys in the same tux. Exact same one that Bruce Wayne gave us. Batman and Robin, dynamic duo. Put the cards away, homie, we ain't talking Uno. When the chips are down and friends ain't around, it's just me and my brother. All we got is each other and we bout to go ham. Lettuce and tomatoes, trying to build my future up. I ain't talking Play-Doh, and I ain't talking toys when I'm yelling Lego. Money, euros, pounds, pesos. All I know is it's really about time. We get paid like a baller, cause you know we dropping dimes. New music every Monday and it's fire every time. We ain't signed yet, bring the alarm, cause it's a crime.
That handsome, darker man in that video, that's my youngest nephew, Latrell Harvey. And I'm so pleased that I had this opportunity to expose him today. You can tell the relationship, can't you? See? Is that wonderful? Yeah, beautiful. We're just beautiful people. That's what it is. Hi, Nicole.
Hello, Jim.
All right, Nicole Rogers is joining us. And Nicole is the African American Community and Business Liaison for the Mayor's Office. Did I get that title right?
It's a mouthful, yes.
Right. And we're so glad that you are in that job, but I'm especially glad that you're here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So talk to us about what it's like in this new job that you've got.
Well, this is week number 5.
Oh.
Just have to say that. It's week number 5, so it's still really fresh, and I'm learning. I'm taking the time really just to learn, listen, read a lot of data. I'm going through tons of data. They were kind of shocked at all the stuff I was requesting. But just really just reading and learning. And when I asked the mayor because this is a mayor appointed position, so I asked him specifically, what is it why now, right? Which was a big question for me.
Right.
2, what do you want me to be doing? And the what is really my job as I see it and as he wants it to be done is to make sure that I bring as many of the city's resources into our community as possible. And when I think of resources, I think of jobs, I think of contracts, I think of grants, programs, all the things that the city offers for us to be able to thrive right here in the city of Albuquerque. But unfortunately, our community doesn't take advantage of those, or maybe for other reasons. Maybe we don't know about them on purpose, maybe, I don't know. So I'm looking at those things and trying to figure out how we can be more transparent about what exists and how to take advantage of those resources in the city, like this studio. I mean, right? So things like that people don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example, And one of the mayor's people, Hakeem Bellamy, reached out to me and said, hey, guess what's happening? Would you all be interested? And I said, yes. Yeah. And as a result of that, we are now the longest running TV show on public access TV.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
awesome. And what day did we land our first show? January 6th.
No way. I did. That's ironic.
January 6th. That was our first show.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about that day, huh?
And so now this is show number 20. And we're really excited and happy about that. And so it's very appropriate that you, in your role, would be here today because this is a valuable resource in terms of reaching the community as well. So before we get deeper into this discussion, invite you back anytime so that you can make announcements and talk about opportunities that are out here.
Yeah, I would love to because I think that's the point is how do we think outside the box of how do we reach people? Because it's really not hard if you really know.
That's right.
It's not hard to find people who need the help.
Oh, no.
And that's what it's really all about, is just getting the resources to our community.
Yeah. So any exciting projects on the front burner already for you that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think right now we're really full swing in planning for Juneteenth that's coming up next month.
Oh, I'm excited.
I'm getting really excited. And so we've had to move it from Roosevelt Park to Civic Plaza because of the overwhelming response that we're getting to the event. Last year we did it at Roosevelt Park and it was beautiful, right in the middle of COVID, which, the governor wasn't really happy with us, but it was still beautiful and nobody I know got COVID, so it was good. And so this year for parking and just to have more capacity, we're going to have it at Civic Plaza. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's a community event. It's not I really am strongly wanting with my new role it's not a city thing. It's for the community, run by the community, planned by the community, and I'm just excited that now in my new role I can open up the city's resources to the community, right, in the form of Civic Plaza and things like that. And that's really what it's all about. Is just whatever you're working on in the community and you need help and resources, reach out because we have them and we can connect you to them. And that's really what it's all about.
So how do we get tables or spaces for Juneteenth?
Yeah, so we have a form that you can actually fill out if you look on Facebook and just type in Juneteenth, Albuquerque Juneteenth 2021, you'll find the event. There's a pinned link to our sign-up sheet and you just tell us which days you'd like to be there. And we're pulling out all the stops, getting tents, and we have a local colonel, Alex Carruthers, who's bringing out the flight simulator for the kids.
Wonderful.
We have Explorer, who stepped up to do STEM kits. We have local performers, artisans, and I'm really excited because we're doing like a street theme. So we're going to have Black Wall Street, because Ujamaa is our theme this year.
Okay.
Which is a collective economics and work, right? So Black Wall Street's going to have all of our resources like business development. We're going to invite out, everybody who can give resources to the community, financial advisors, mortgage specialists, people who if you want to buy a home, right? We're really trying to push Black home ownership. is how you build generational wealth, is owning a home.
Owning a home. That's
we're really
right.
excited to work with, groups like Teresa Carson in the Greater Albuquerque African American Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
HomeWise is even stepping up to.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they want to make sure to help us with our goal to have more African Americans be homeowners in Albuquerque.
That's great. I hope they bring the refinance people as well. 'Cause
We
I'd
got some
probably
mortgage
like to get
people.
mine refied.
Yep, it's a good time with the rates the way they are.
The
It's
rates,
a really good time.
Yeah, I need some extra money.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Like we have financial planners because that's a lot of people's problem, right? We don't have extra money to play around
That's
with
right.
in the stock market. Like,
That's,
okay,
the stock market.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
nowadays with apps like Cash App, people can participate in these things faster than they could before.
Sure.
So just teaching people how to free up some money so they can do those things. And how to repair credit. You shouldn't have to pay anybody $500 to repair your credit.
Exactly.
There's resources that we have that can teach you those things that can help with that. So
That is so
yeah,
good.
I'm excited. Rental assistance, you mentioned that earlier. That's a
Yeah.
big one. People don't realize the city, the county, and the state all got money for this.
That's right.
So it's like 150 million circling New Mexico right now for rental assistance. And what they're offering, it's free grants. That's 15 months worth of rent that they'll give people
Wow.
to catch them up in 3 months ahead.
So maybe I should sell my house and go rent.
No.
To get me some extra money.
Well, but when we look when I look at the data in Albuquerque, right, the city of how many homeowners we have,
Yeah.
we are a rent city.
This is a rental city. Yeah, this is.
And we need to change that.
Yeah, we do. It's, let's put down your stake and own a piece of the rock. That's what you do.
Yep.
And the money's there, the resources are there to help people, make that a reality. And there are just no excuses.
And we just need to teach people the tools, though, because our communities don't get taught the financial principles that, people with wealth pass down to their kids.
That's right.
And their kids and their kids. We don't necessarily do that. We do what our grandmama did and put our money in the bank.
Yeah.
When I tell people who put your money in a bank, you a sucker. That's why they give you suckers when you go in the bank.
I love that.
Because you're a sucker.
I love that because you're a sucker.
You keep your money in the bank. They can lend, for every $1 you put in the bank, they can lend 10 to the guy behind you.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So those kinds of things, like the rule of 72, teaching people at Juneteenth about the rule. Have you ever heard of the rule of 72?
Yes, oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a mathematical principle
Yeah.
that tells you how much it's going to take your money to double in any vehicle. Right? So I want to know how long do I have to wait for my money to double?
Right.
And how many more doubling periods do you have in your life?
Yeah.
Right? And so those kind of principles we don't teach. So I'm excited to have people out there teaching that. Then we have Black Excellence Avenue, which is going to be all of our artisans and artists. And we have Rejeko, one of our African dancers who moved out of state. She's coming back.
She's coming back.
Just
Good.
for our
I love
event.
Rejeko.
Yeah, she's going to have a drumming circles going on all weekend, and tutorials of African dance and things like that. So it's going to be just a big family reunion.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's one. I organized the largest Juneteenth celebration on the West Coast in 1977 in San Francisco.
Ooh, I bet that was fun.
We had over 100,000 people on Divisadero Street. And Divisadero Street in San Francisco used to be the heart of the Black community there. I don't know what it's like now, but it used to be. And the next day on the front page of the San Francisco Examiner was this aerial shot. And it was just a sea of humanity for 20 blocks.
Wow.
It was the most incredible event. And no one had ever seen anything like that. So, and it took me to move to the West Coast to really get tuned into Juneteenth, because back in the Midwest and on the East Coast, we don't know much about Juneteenth.
No.
Now we've learned a lot more about it. As years have gone by, but we didn't know anything about it then. And so I was just, this is an awesome holiday to celebrate.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you just grabbed onto that here.
I'm excited. I had my parents. I grew up in Santa Fe when I was younger. My parents used to bring us to Civic Plaza for Juneteenth every summer, and there was only like 5 Black families that lived in Santa Fe at the time. And we all hung out together, and we would all come up. And I remember I think I was like 10, 11, walking up the stairs at Civic Plaza and seeing a sea of Black people. And I looked at my dad and I said, where are all these people at? Where do they live? Because it was just to see it. It was moving.
Yeah,
Really
to
moving.
come to town and say, where y'all at? Here we are. You know, that's wonderful.
So that's the first big thing. And then we have It Takes a Village mentorship program that just got funded. Scott Carruthers was really detrimental in getting that, instrumental in getting that, funded. So that's going to be, coming out soon out of the city, which is great. And so just really... Juneteenth, I'm really excited because we're going to do some brainstorming sessions with the community because I'm really passionate about, I don't represent every intersection of the Black community.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
And I can't do this by myself.
Can't do it by yourself.
No.
So y'all come and help.
Yes, we need you to come out.
Okay.
Give
come
us
and
feedback.
help.
Because we're going to have brainstorming questions. What do you want me to be doing? What do you want me to be working on? What resources do you think we need that we don't get? So that I can use that to build our work plan.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm so happy. I'm ecstatic, in fact, And just a shout out to Scott Carruthers, Brandy, Scott Carruthers, Brandy, Scott Carruthers cut his teeth in African American student services at UNM before he went on to bigger and more exciting things. And I'm just glad to call him friend. And I'm happy that he is where he is right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn from him. He's teaching me what he knows now, so it's a lot.
He knows this entire state real well.
Very well.
Better than a lot of people, and we're fortunate to have him.
Yeah, I'm grateful to learn from him.
But we're fortunate to have you too.
Well, thank you.
And I am just grateful that you've taken the time out to come today. And like I said, come back.
Oh, please, I would love to.
Come on back. And you got announcements to make. You just give me a shout and say, hey, I want to come and talk about blah, blah, blah. And I'll get you here in front of the camera so we can get the word out to folks.
Yeah, maybe you should bring some cameras to Juneteenth. And
You always bring some cameras to Juneteenth,
Do a little show there.
Okay, where's our director, Tom? We're bringing cameras to Juneteenth, all right? That's our commitment. We've got to do that. We can get people on air to just let them know what is happening. Yeah. Which reminds me, I am just happy as we end this segment to announce that we've got some guests and soon-to-be interns in our studio today. These are students from Next Gen High School, Next Gen Academy, right? Next Gen Academy. Let me call it right. From Next Gen Academy. And we sent out the word that we were opening the doors and we wanted students who were interested in learning about TV production to come on in. And so, Nicole, as you make your travels around, let them know we've still got room for more students, but we want you all to have the opportunity to come and learn all there is to learn about TV production. From where I sit, back to the control room, learn all you can about television production. And I'll tell you, this is where great things happen. People go on from here to become stars, and it's just a good opportunity. So welcome Next Gen, and we hope that your coming weeks with us are going to be fruitful and beneficial and everything. Pam on camera, and Dar and Tom and Lloyd back in the control room. Yes, cool. We've got it. And Brandy, take it away.
Thank you. And now Tracy Jordan will read part 3 of our reading series on Tyranny, Lesson 9, Be Kind to Our Language.
Lesson 9, Be Kind to Our Language. Avoid pronouncing the phrases everyone else does. Think up your own way of speaking, even if only to convey that thing you think everyone is saying. Make an effort to separate yourself from the internet. Read books. Victor Klemperer, a literary scholar of Jewish origin, turned his philological training against Nazi propaganda. He noticed how Hitler's language rejected legitimate opposition. The people always meant some people and not others. The president uses the word in this way. Encounters were always struggles. The president says winning. And any attempt by free people to understand the world in a different way was defamation of the leader. or, as the president puts it, libel. Politicians in our times feed their cliches to television, where even those who wish to disagree repeat them. Television purports to challenge political language by conveying images, but the succession from one frame to another can hinder any sense of resolution. Everything happens fast, but nothing actually happens. Each story on televised news is breaking until it is displaced by the next one. So we are hit by wave upon wave, but never see the ocean. The effort to define the shape and significance of events requires words and concepts that elude us when we are entranced by visual stimuli. Watching televised news is sometimes little more than looking at someone who is also looking at a picture. We take this collective trance to be normal. We have slowly fallen into it. More than half a century ago, the classic novels of totalitarianism warned of the domination of screens, the suppression of books, the narrowing of vocabularies, and the associated difficulties of thought. In Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, published in 1953, firemen find and burn books, while most citizens watch interactive television. In George Orwell's 1984, published in 1949, books are banned, and television is two-way, allowing the government to observe citizens at all times. In 1984, the language of visual media is highly constrained to starve the public of the concepts needed to think about the present, remember the past, and consider the future. One of the regime's projects is to limit the language further by eliminating ever more words with each edition of the official dictionary. Staring at screens is perhaps unavoidable, but the two-dimensional world makes little sense unless we can draw upon a mental armory that we have developed somewhere else. When we repeat the same words and phrases that appear in the daily media, we accept the absence of a larger framework. To have such a framework requires more concepts, and having more concepts requires reading. So get the screens out of your room and surround yourself with books. The characters in Orwell's and Bradbury's books could not do this, but we still can. What to read? Any good novel enlivens our ability to think about ambiguous situations and judge the intentions of others. Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Brother Karamazov and Milan Kundera's The Unbearable Lightness of Being might suit our moment. Sinclair Lewis's novel, It Can't Happen Here, is perhaps not a great work of art. Philip Roth's The Plot Against America is better. One novel known by millions of young Americans that offers an account of tyranny and resistance is J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. If you or your friends or your children did not read it in that way the first time, then it bears reading again. Some of the political and historical texts that inform the arguments made here are Politics and the English Language by George Orwell, 1946. The Language of the Third Reich by Victor Klemperer, 1947. The Origins of Totalitarianism by Hannah Arendt, 1951. The Rebel by Albert Camus, 1951. The Captive Mind by Czeslaw Milosz, 1953. The Power of the Powerless by Václav Havel, 1978. How to be a Conservative-Liberal-Socialist by Leszek Kolakowski, 1978. The Uses of Adversity by Timothy Garton Ash, 1989. The Burden of Responsibility by Tony Junt, 1998. Ordinary Men by Christopher Browning, 1992. And Nothing is True and Everything is Possible by Peter Pomerantsev, 2014. Christians might return to the foundational book, which as ever is very timely. Jesus preached, that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. We should be modest, for whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. And of course, we must be concerned with what is true and what is false. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Just in case you didn't believe that we've got Next Gen students and parents in the studio. Next Gen students, let everybody know that you're here. There you go. All right. All right. All right. Glad you're here. Tom, take it away.
Well, Jim, like you were saying before, if you've ever wanted to be involved in broadcast production in a real studio or would like to be socially active in your community, if so, the Albuquerque Center for Peace and Justice is the place for you. This summer, the center is offering an internship that will give individuals insider experience and knowledge about the ins and outs of the studio, from lighting to sound, from hosting to directing, producing an actual talk show regarding social injustices and issues called That Saturday Show. Come on down and be part of our team. We're located at 202 Harvard Southeast. And you can contact us by calling that number over there, 268-9557. And yes, Jim, we do want to film Juneteenth, but we're almost halfway there in getting donations for outside audio and visual equipment, so we can do that. If you'd like to contribute, we're up to about $400. We could probably use $1,000. Please go to our website, abqpeaceandjustice.org, and use our PayPal account to donate there.
Send money. We need it. Nicole? Yes. So other things that are happening around the Peace and Justice Center, I'm glad to share a few things with you. Things are beginning to open up again, and we're really excited about so many of the activities. We've got chair yoga. We've got a thing called Wellness Wednesday that we're introducing. Chair yoga, possibly Tai Chi, and hopefully we're going to start Wednesdays with a Wednesday morning coffee talk where we're bringing in a lot of the old vets from the Peace and Justice Center, people who have been around and doing this important work for many, many years, to sit down and just share stories. And you can come in and ask questions and exchange ideas about things that are going on. We are really excited about that. And we're going to really crank things up starting in July. And I'm hoping that we can introduce something called Music, Monologues, and Poetry. Once a month, once every other month maybe. Open mics, bring people in and let folks just show us what you can do. So we're excited about the things that are going to be happening. And at the center of everything, of course, is going to be the all-important social justice theme. So if you've got something that you want to share, bring it. Just bring it. Brandy Stone, thank you so much for joining us today. Nicole Rogers, thank you so much for joining us today. Next Gen, we love you. Los Otros, let's take us out.
Until the next time, it's time to say goodbye. When you out here in the streets, keep it real 505. We love everybody, we just want to let you know. Thanks for tuning in to that Saturday show.